And here we are with another gold sponsor for our Christmas in July 24-hour live streamathon. You guys, we are getting closer. It is this coming Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, July 20th, and running nonstop through Sunday, July 21st. 10 a.m. Eastern. So I want to bring up my next gold sponsor, Mr. David Kametsky from, let's put us side by side here on the path. And he has an amazing nonprofit as well that we definitely want to highlight and just talk about all the great things that he also has going on. So hello, David. How are you?
How's it going, Elena?
It's good. Rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of the videos this morning with the other sponsors, the other people. I'm just so honored to be part of this event. I know your energy. We've got to know each other, and wow, you're just such a powerful person. How can you not want to support somebody like that with the mission that you have? I'm honored to be part of this.
Thank you. Thank you. And yes, this is our third annual, but this is the first year that you are actually like, you're kicking off our show. If you
Yeah, woohoo! Can't
know
wait.
that. Yeah, you are
Got some
kicking off
surprise.
our
Got some
show.
surprises. We'll definitely kick it off in the right way, and I so appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us about you, your mission, and some of the work that you do in this world, because really this time right now is about you because you chose to be a sponsor for us.
Well, I'm Dave. I'm single. I like teal. No, but what I do is I love this mission, and that's really what it comes down to. Is when you find missions like that, and you and I were talking about the charity. So I do have a charity called Goons for Good. Uh, they're actually starting to call me the Goon Father
The Goose Father.
as a
Oh, I
joke.
love that.
But yeah, but what we do is, and one of the reasons why you and I connect so well is I'd love to support other 501c3s. And it's not about what we do alone, it's about what we do together in the right communities. And that's what I enjoy doing is helping people, helping communities, being part of the right communities, surrounding myself with the right people and hearing their stories. I mean, your story when you shared with me your story. I was just talking today to people in the CLA about
Mhm.
stories and how important the fact how we share our stories are so important, and that you share these stories and you're bringing on other faith-based people who are sharing their stories because that's how
Yeah,
we get through it.
that is how we
And
get through it. That is how we get through it, and for me, faith is the foundation for it all. And I just remain to be the vessel and just to be able to be, we have over 56 people joining in a matter of a 24-hour span. And that's that many lives that people can share what they've gone through to just give a glimpse of hope out there to somebody else that may need it.
100%, and that's what it really is giving that glimmer of hope. Because one of my mentors, especially in the charity space, he used to say you just have to show up. And that's why in my charity, we look for opportunities for people to show up, to just be able to have opportunities to show up and give through our hearts. Being a heart-centered leader is tough, but there's so many other people who just want to give their hearts and share that. And that's really what the core of this event is.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And so, you mentioned a little bit about you being the goon father, right?
Yeah.
So how did that get started? Like, what for you turned into needing to serve forward?
Yeah, so I had always loved to, there's a feeling, and I'll ask everybody out there when they hear this, what does it feel like when you give, right? You when you give from your heart, not just give, not I got to give the kids another $20, they're going out. No, when you really give from your heart, and it helps too. It helps the person who's receiving it. It also helps the person who's giving it. And I've always been a giver and wanting to do that. I didn't know that I also needed to learn to receive better. But how I became the Goon Father, it really is. I've been helping out with this charity, Healthspan.us, for many years. It was dealing mainly in the substance disease, and
Mhm.
working with people who were at their lowest. And I had been trained. I'd been a certified peer recovery advocate to help people through their challenges and creating wellness guides and their wellness path. And once I started learning the resources, and the woman who was taking care of who had owned the charity, when her husband passed away, she was like, Dave, there's only a few people in the world that I want to give it to. You're the first one. Would you want to do it? I said, okay, only if I can call it Goons for Good. And
Mhm.
where that name comes from is when I was 14, my best friend, Morris Mayer, him and I, we were on a bowling team called the Goon Squad. We just were a bunch of punk kids bowling and kind of making a lot of money doing that. It was kind of cool. Uh, and what we did is, we kept in touch, and then we lost touch, and we both came back. But the heart of people, how we're connected. He was doing charity work and became a pastor in the Lutheran Church in Mamaroneck, and I was just doing good work wherever I showed up.
Mhm.
We connected together. We said, let's put the Goon Squad back together. And I said, how about Goons for Good? And he didn't understand it. And he was like, no, people won't have that. They'll understand a goon is a tough guy. I go, I don't look like a tough guy. I'm a roly poly, good guy. And he said, okay. Then we heard me talk about it on stage in front of my mentor, Frank Shankowitz. And he was like, I get it now. And the getting it is we all know somebody, we know a guy. That's really what it is. We know a person who either needs help or wants help. And
Mhm.
that's what the charity is. By giving from ourselves, giving from our hearts, that's where we can really show up. When we show up and you help somebody who's lost, a little child who's lost, right? Always look for a mommy or a daddy, right? That's what we teach our kids. Same thing we need to teach society. When we're having a problem, reach out to somebody that you know can help you. And that's what we want to do as part of the Goons.
That's beautiful. And you make a great point. I first want to say hello. Gregory Hall is on here. He says hello. We got Michael Martin
Hey, Greg.
Hummel tuning in. So we want
Hey,
to
Mark.
thank
Mike.
him. But the way that you put that, I'm such a visual person. So I love to see like the picture of it. And we wouldn't hesitate to help a child find where
No.
they're going, find their people, find their parents, find like what we wouldn't hesitate. And yet as adults, why do we feel like we have to navigate it alone or afraid to ask for that help? And so to create that environment and that space to make it safe to do so is so huge. It's huge.
Yeah, and that's some of where my history comes back from. Is while I was going through challenges years ago, I attempted suicide, and I was told I have to go back and talk about it. And I was already training people, helping people in the mental wellness space, but I wasn't helping myself. Now I know I take care of myself, and I'm so much better than I was at that time. Not that I was a horrible person then. I just wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't getting that right balance. Now because I can do that. I know the balance. It's tough, doing all the things that I am doing, but when you have the right balance and doing it, that you're running a charity, you're having this event, right? How much energy is that taking? And you have a business and a family. You have a beautiful family.
Yeah. What is it?
Yep.
I've thought about it, but never tried it. Oh, this is a great conversation to have. And this is why we do this. So Michael says, like, that's being very open and transparent. He's thought about it, but never tried it. And I'm sure that there's
And
a lot of people that have. Mhm.
most people have. Statistically speaking, 89% of people who have tried it have not been successful. So that means 11% that we hear those horrible stories, and I don't, my heart pours out to them. But there's more people who think about it, do it, and are not successful. Those are the people we need to help out. We need to talk about it as a society to say, hey, I'm having a problem. And now that's what I do. When people say to me, hey, how's your day? If my day's not going well, I'm going to say, I'm okay. And that my day's not going well. I don't
Mhm.
feel it today. Today's
Yep.
not one of those days. It's
Yep.
okay to say that. Let's be strong about saying what we need to say, not just being fine.
Hmm.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Greg. I see. I'm so sorry,
Oh,
Greg. My
yeah,
heart
I
goes out
am.
to
I
you.
see that, Greg. Thank you for sharing that, Greg. And, hugs and prayers always, just always
Yeah.
going out because we know far too many people that has. And, you know, based on what we're doing here, we all have been, well, at least we're here because I witnessed death and was touched by death of my husband on Christmas Eve. A different scenario, different situation, but the reality of loss is, and the pain that that brings, is why we're here, to just try to pour hope and goodness and love into the world, because it can be tough. And so to have experienced it, it gives us a new perspective on the value of the minute, doesn't it? It gives us a
For sure,
perspective on the
for
value
sure.
of
That's why you always have to. I mean, if anybody knows me, I sometimes say I love you, and everybody goes, they get uncomfortable. Even people who know me for years, and I'm like, I don't care if I'm making you feel uncomfortable, because we've had sudden losses, and I just want you to know that's really how I feel, and it's not because I'm asking to hear it back. That would be the worst time for me to say it if I'm expecting to hear it back. I'm just offering love to people who I just want to love,
Mhm.
and not in a romantic sense, not in a, it's an energy. We shouldn't be afraid of the energies that we feel and embrace, and then move it forward. It's moving that energy, because that's what the world needs as a whole, more love. And it's not about hate. When we talk about love is not the absence. Hate is not the absence of love. Just remember that. Hate is just the absence of a lot of other things. It has nothing to do. It's not the opposite of love. It is actually the absence of love. It's the absence of the feelings that you are, and not managing it back. Clean your love filter, and that's how it'll get through. And that's like an event like what we're going to be experiencing on Saturday. It's going to be just that love filter, people pouring in to love to Elena and her story. And I think that's beautiful.
And I actually love that you say that. You made me think of my dad just now. He passed away in 2011 from cancer, but he said, especially coming from a Hispanic culture, he was a man. You got to
Yep.
be the strong one. He said one of the hardest things, or two of the hardest words for men to use, is love and beautiful. For whatever reason, those were two of the hardest words for him to grow up feeling comfortable using. And it's amazing that he was able to break through that and teach me that love is the ultimate gift we can give to everyone in every capacity. So I'm one of those. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm not
Yep.
weird about it, but I genuinely exude that over everyone. Just love, man. That's all.
No, exactly. And I think as men in our society, we're not allowed, right? A lot of times when I'll talk, and I just want to say this, she said this, hey, Daniela, um, it really, men as a whole, and can't say some things. It's tough. You got to be tough. You got to rub it off, walk it off. And, I've had lots of friends who go, hey, come on, Mary, sit down, Dave, it's okay. We'll give you a tissue, and you'll get to talk about it later. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. You want to make fun of it, but what pain are you feeling because you feel the need to do that? I'm not pushing anything on you, and it really is love, just by saying that. If I feel comfortable, and that's one of the things that I enjoy, that every time I talk to you, is that safe space. That's one of the things I pride myself on, is that people could say things to me that are tough, but having that safe space and know that they're going to get love back in return. Even when I'm frustrated, I'll be like, look, I'm a little frustrated, but that's also love, because you want to make sure you say it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is like so great. And this is just like a touch of why we're here and what we're going to be doing this
Yeah.
weekend. But a little bit more about so like on the path, right? That's kind of what you share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so on the path is, personal attitudes towards happiness. That's been my practice for a number of years, and it really is one of those powerful pieces. Is we get lost, we go in the ashes of our lives, get lost sometimes on the path. We think we've found the right path. Sometimes it's a shiny object that we get lost in, and then we want to take our time to find our hearts and soar again. And that's what I do. Is I help people through some of the traumatic events in their lives. I assist people to write books, get on stages, create their own podcast, create a brand message that is aligned with who they are and what they do, along with their story. Because our stories are the most powerful things that we have. And the great thing about that is when we take it to that next level, you will continue to soar. You'll level up. Being up leveling in your business, in your life, in your relationships, that is powerful stuff. And I love to talk about that.
That is beautiful because you know what? Everyone has a story, which means everyone has the potential to do any number of those things that you just mentioned. That's great. Daniela says, I think it makes you more of a man to show your emotions. Being macho and tough is not real. No one can be that all the time. Showing your emotions is endearing to me. Yep, that's what it's about.
Yep. You got to be authentic, right? You got to be who you are and know that it's okay to talk about your emotions, both good and less good.
Absolutely. So you are opening up our streamathon this coming Saturday. Tell us why you actually wanted to be a gold sponsor this season.
Well, I wanted to be. Well, I hadn't known you prior to this season, so this season was important. When I got to know you and your story, and when I started thinking about what I want to support, the missions that you have, I try to support anybody who knows me. Daniela knows me. Daniela knows me. That I've supported, and I don't do it. Everything isn't on Facebook. When she tried to when she cooked for the women's shelter, I offered things like that. When there's a real mission that I feel is good use of my energy and of my time, of my financial resources, I like to support it. And hearing your story, hearing you and seeing you and how you show up for the world, I was like, yeah, I would love to be part of this. And I love the idea of Christmas in July. I work on that next year. We tried to get it to go this year, but the goons weren't able to get it. I love to give gifts in the middle of July because the fact is, Christmas should be every day, not the holiday of Christmas, the thoughts, the presents, right? That's not really about what Christmas is about. Christmas is about showing up and being who you are and having your relationship with God. That's what it is. And if we have Christmas every day, no matter what day is our last day, it becomes a celebration.
That's beautiful. I absolutely love that. And so, yes, this coming Saturday, we are kicking off at 10 a.m. Eastern for our third annual Streamathon. And David is actually opening up the show. So do not miss it. Go ahead and follow us. Follow us here now. We will be streaming across YouTube and different platforms on Facebook. So just get the shares out there, get the people involved. This is literally an opportunity to simply pour goodness and positive messages around the globe for 24 hours. And David, I am honored to have you on board this year. And I'm actually excited with some of the surprises that you have in store.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I can't wait, man. I'm so honored to be the first person that you'll be bringing on and just be part of the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we got, what did we say here? Daniela says, oh my gosh, yes, David is always so supportive of people's causes and missions. You have such a huge heart. You are appreciated. That's beautiful. All right, folks. So tune in this Saturday, July 21st, 10 a.m. You'll see David first off, and we will rock and roll. Thanks so much for joining us today, David, and we'll see you Saturday.
Thanks so much. All right, bye.